Hello and welcome to TalentSprint. In this session of Polity, we shall discuss about constitutional bodies. So what do you mean by constitutional bodies? How much do you know about them? So why it is called only constitutional bodies? Because they must be mentioned in the constitution. Any body which is mentioned in a constitution, it is called as constitutional body. There is one more type called statutory body. So what do you mean by statutory body? Statutory body means it should be made with an act of parliament. Okay, so then it is called as statutory body. Example is RBI. RBI has an RBI Act of 1934. It was established in 1935. So RBI is a statutory body, but RBI is not a constitutional body because it is not mentioned in the constitution. So constitutional body means it must be mentioned in the constitution. So we shall see some of the constitutional bodies in India. The first is Attorney-General of India. So he is the first law officer of the country. Okay, so he represents the government of India in all the cases, in all the courts in the world also. Okay, so moving on, he is the first the law officer of the country and he is appointed by the president. And he must be qualified to be a judge of Supreme Court. Okay, the required qualification is he must be qualified to contest as a judge of Supreme Court. Okay, and he is appointed by the president and he shall hold office till the pleasure of president. That means there is no term of office for the Attorney General of India. Like 5 years, 4 years, 6 years, there is no term of office. He can be removed by the president any time. Okay, he can be re-elected or reappointed any number of times. And he is assisted by a Solicitor General of India. The word Solicitor General of India is not mentioned in the Indian Constitution. Okay, it is of extra constitutional in nature. So moving on to the functions of the Attorney General of India. Okay, he advises the government of India and others on legal matters, and he can appear on behalf of the government of India in all the cases in all the courts in India. He has the right to appear on behalf of government of India. No one can deny him. No one can object him from attending the courts in India. Okay, so moving on to the rights and limitations. He can attend the parliament sessions of both Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha sessions, and he can be a member of any parliamentary committee. But the only condition is he cannot vote either in parliament or in the parliamentary committee. That is the only condition. This is a civil services prelims question. They have given these 3 conditions and they have asked which of the following are true. So he can participate in parliament sessions and he cannot vote at that place, and also he can be a member of any parliamentary committee but he cannot vote. Okay, who is the present Attorney General of India? It is K.K. Venugopal. As on date, the K.K. Venugopal is present Attorney General of India. Whenever there is change in appointments, we have to note down. Okay, so what is the work of Attorney General of India? He represents the government of India for all the cases in all the courts. Okay, that means he will take up the case on behalf of government of India. Moving on to the next constitutional body, that is Comptroller and Auditor-General of India, CAG. It is mentioned under Article 148. So there shall be a Comptroller and Auditor General who is appointed by the President, and oath to him also is administered by the President of India. Moving on to the conditions of the CAG office. So what are the conditions? The term of office of the CAG is 6 years or up to the age of 65 years. What do you mean by this? 6 years or up to the age of 65 years? Whichever is earlier. Suppose if he completes 65 years in the middle of Suppose he has completed 4 years term. So now today he is completing 65 years. So he has to step down. That is the meaning of it. 6 years or 65 years, whichever is earlier. And he shall not be eligible for further office after this CAG post. Now he has stepped down as from the CAG. So he cannot be taking up any government office in the future, and he shall submit his resignation to the President of India, not to anyone, only to President of India. And he shall be removed by the President by following a procedure similar to the removal of Supreme Court judge. We have already discussed in Supreme Court judge, because CAG is a independent organization. What is the work of CAG? The work of CAG is, the salaries are mentioned in second schedule. The work of CAG is to audit the accounts of both Government of India and state and local governments, and also public sector undertakings. So when political people interfere in CAG, the accounts may be deferred. This is not good for the welfare of the people. So hence the removal is similar to the removal of judge of Supreme Court, which is not very easy. So judiciary is independent and CAG is also independent in India, and even election commission we shall study in this coming topic. Okay, and he shall submit reports to the President every year, and who shall in turn submit this report before the Parliament. Okay, so CAG will submit a report to the President, and President will submit this report before the Parliament, and the Parliament will take action whenever there is mismatches in the accounts of any government or any public sector undertaking. So the work of CAG is to audit the accounts, and it closely works with the committee called Public Accounts Committee, called PAC of the Parliament. Okay, so the work of a CAG is to audit the accounts. Okay, who is the present CAG till date? It is Rajiv Meharishi. Whenever there is change in appointment, please note down the change of appointment. Moving on to the next constitutional body, that is Finance Commission. So Finance Commission is mentioned in article number 280. So what do you mean by this Finance Commission and who appoints it? The President appoints a Finance Commission for every 5 years from the year 1952 onwards, when our first Lok Sabha elections were held. Okay, and which shall consist of a chairman and 4 other members in it. Okay, Finance Commission will have a chairman and 4 other members in it. And what is the work of Finance Commission? It makes recommendations to the President about what? About the net proceeds of taxes distribution between the central government and the states, and even the local bodies also, like panchayats and the municipalities. Okay, how the taxes should be distributed. Now we are collecting taxes, so this distribution is told by this Finance Commission. Okay, moving on to the important finance commissions of India. The first Finance Commission was established in the year 1952. And what is the term of first Finance Commission? 1952 to 57. Who was the chairman of first Finance Commission? K.C. Niyogi. Okay, and moving on to the 13th Finance Commission from 2010 to 2015. Who was its chairman? Vijay Kelkar. And next is 14th Finance Commission from 2015 to 2020. Who is its chairman? 14th Finance Commission chairman? Y.V. Reddy, Y. Venugopal Reddy, who is the former RBI governor. And 15th Finance Commission chairman is N.K. Singh, and the time period of 15th Finance Commission is 2020 to 2025. Recently, this 15th Finance Commission was appointed under the chairmanship of N.K. Singh, and it will work for a period of 2020 to 2025. Moving on to the next constitutional body, that is Public Service Commissions for the Union and the states. So this is mentioned in article number 315. So Public Service Commissions, what is their main work? To recruit and recommend the candidates for the central and state services. The Union Public Service Commission and State Public Service Commission, Joint Public Service Commissions. These are the three commissions which we have in India. What is their work? To recommend the candidates for various posts in India, in government. Okay. And moving on to the appointment of these chairmen of Public Service Commissions. The chairman and other members of the Union and the Joint Commission are appointed by the President. And for the State Public Service Commission, they are appointed by the Governor of the state. Okay. And moving on to the conditions of the Public Service Commissions. So their term of office. The term of office is 6 years or up to the age of 65 years for a Union Commission. Whichever is earlier. We have already discussed what is whichever is earlier. Whichever is earlier, either of 6 years or 65 years of age, these members will continue in Union Commission. And for a joint or state commission, it is 6 years or up to the age of 62 years. This is the limit for a joint or a union, a joint or a state commission. And coming to the resignation, in case of the union and joint commissions, they submit resignation to the President. And in case of state commission, the members of the State Public Service Commission shall submit to Governor. And coming to the removal, all are removed by the President directly. Here the Governor will not involve. If the President wants to remove any of the person in either union or state or joint commissions, the President can directly remove them. Governor will not participate in it. So what is the work of these Public Service Commissions? To recruit and recommend candidates for government posts. It is mentioned in article number 315. Moving on to the next constitutional body, that is Election Commission, mentioned in article number 324. The Election Commission will have a Chief Election Commissioner and other such commissioners. So one will be Chief Election Commissioner and other will be other election commissioners. Presently we have one election commissioner and two other election commissioners. Okay. Normally they are appointed as 3 people only, but one senior most person will be taking the post of Chief Election Commissioners among those 3 members. And all the salaries will be same for the 3 people, but one person will be heading as Chief Election Commissioner. And what is their work? To conduct elections for various posts in India like President, Vice President, Rajya Sabha and Legislative Council elections, local bodies elections. Okay. Central Election Commission will conduct elections at the central level and State Election Commission will conduct at the state level. Moving on to the conditions for Election Commission. So their term of office is 6 years or 65 years, whichever is earlier. Okay, for CAG and EC the same term. We can observe here, see, 6 years or 65 years, whichever is earlier. And he shall submit resignation to the President. And he shall be removed by the President after following a similar procedure that of Judge of Supreme Court. So we have already seen for Supreme Court, for CAG and for Election Commission, the removal is similar to that of Supreme Court judge. Why? Means this Supreme Court, this judiciary, CAG, that is auditing of the accounts, and conducting of elections, that is Election Commission, they must be independent. Politics should not interfere in these bodies, or else the welfare of the people is damaged, is not achieved. Okay, so this is all for this session in the constitutional bodies. We shall meet in the next session. Have a great day.